looked up to Afro. He has been the figure that I thought was like the real all-star support. Stylistically, we're pretty identical.
Playing against Matt feels like I'm playing against a younger version of myself, to be fair.
I'm trying to get it right now. This is something you probably should write down. It's within our sight now. So I'm ready for that fight now. Never to see me throwing that white towel.
I don't think CLG is exactly adapting the best that they could. They went to the finals of an international tournament. To go from that to a losing record in LCS, that's pretty lame.
We already beat them like in the season, so I think we'll have more confidence than we usually have.
I think I remember it being a really winnable set back when we played CLG in week 2. We should take them down.
Let's go, 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 let's go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Week 8 of the North American LCS. We're gearing up for Day 2 of the weekend's action, with teams battling to move up the standings as we approach the end of the split. Now, fans have packed the stands across both stages and are looking to see their favorite teams give it their all on the Rift today. Of course, CLG, the defending champions, arrived as a squad moments ago, soaking in the LA sun, ready to go head-to-head with Team Liquid. They're huddling on stage, getting prepped for their match of the week series. Phoenix showing some love to Fabi over there. Their new ADC in the bot lane, who's assimilated quite well. Envy's man in the mid lane. Ninja looking sharp and focused, ready to take on Cloud9. Meteos will be his opponent out of the jungle, providing his team with vision and gang power towards that mid lane in Jensen. Well, thank you for joining us this afternoon, everyone. I'm James Dash Patterson. Helping me break down all the day's games is Mark Zimmerman and Marcus Dyrishillo. How are we doing today, gentlemen?
I'm happy to be back. The desk is back. If there was like a way to hug it, I'd try and figure it's a little too big though.
Right, it's a little big. Yeah, you haven't experienced the deskless analyst segments yet, have you?
No, I haven't been here for those.
They're
I'm
fun,
sure it
actually.
must be interesting.
Yeah, Mark was terrified last night.
Yeah.
But you made it
conquered
through
my
just
fear
fine.
Thanks to the help of the whole production team. You know.
Exactly. We've got your back. All right, well, we had a couple matches last night, so let's check out the current standings. The top 4 are locked in position: TSM, Immortals, Liquid, and Cloud9. Tied in the middle, CLG and Team Envy. The 7th, 8th, and 9th place teams are Apex, Energy, and Phoenix One. And following their loss last night, 10th place Echo Fox has been eliminated from playoff contention and will face the upcoming promotion tournament. Now let's check out the games in store for us today. Over in the Battle Theater, we start the day off with a bout between Team Envy and Cloud9, followed by Apex taking on Immortals. And on NALCS 1, be sure to check out the match of the week: a showdown between top teams Counterlogic Gaming and Liquid, with TSM facing Phoenix One later in the day. Before we get into anything, I want to talk about a milestone that we've got on the horizon. Doublelift starts the day with 962 kills and is quickly approaching the 1,000 kill mark. Now, he would become the first player in the North American or European LCS to cross the 1K threshold. So today, we're kicking off Doublelift Watch. And I have to ask, do you guys think he can do it in just 4 matches remaining in the regular season? That's a minimum of 8 games. So if he keeps up his average kills per games, he will eclipse that number just barely by the end of the season. But do we think he can do it?
Yeah, I think it's pretty doable. He's playing a lot of Sivir. It's a great champion for getting involved in kills. Just in general, he also plays a lot of Lucian. He's not playing like an Ashe, which can be a little bit harder, I think, because you have to just hit what's in front of you. The ricochets get to the back line. Lucian just wants to dash in. These are all great champions, and the team's playing well around him, so I think he can easily do it.
There's almost something to be said for the fact that they're winning so frequently and so easily that they're actually going to he'll have less games to do it in because they're not losing games.
I mean, it kind of depends. They could really play around it if they wanted to, because they are already in playoffs, so it doesn't really matter. But if they keep playing like they do, he'll probably get it anyways. It's not like an impossible task. I think it's pretty reasonable.
Now, with Doublelift, I feel like it's an eventuality, so it will probably happen, and soon enough. Now, this does set our 2 top teams on somewhat of a collision course, as they will be playing each other in our final week of play, while Turtle happens to be sitting behind the Doublelift with only 61 kills needed to also hit that 1,000 mark. So, I mean, for me, I'm just kind of hoping that he doesn't hit that mark until that series. I would love to see both of these players kind of gunning for that 1,000th kill within the series.
Turtle's like,
between
I
the
need
two
15
teams.
this game, and Doblo's like, I need 4. Like, it's a
I mean, yeah,
uphill
definitely.
battle for Turtle.
Taller order for Turtle, but definitely still possible with the dominant run that Immortals has been putting up recently.
Right, I think that showdown just beyond the 80 carries is going to be an amazing one to watch. Pobelter's basically established himself as the number 2, it seems like, being a huge part of Immortals' team, not just being the kind of solid rock in the mid lane, but actually taking over a number of games. And Bjergsen's obviously the focal point for TSM, so seeing those two clash will be great.
All right, well, with TSM and Immortals already locked for playoff buys, the 3, 4, and 5 slots are up for grabs and in our noontime games today. So first up on NALCS 1 is our match of the week between CounterLogic Gaming and Liquid. The last time these teams met, CLG emerged victorious in a 2-1 series after dropping Game 1. Xmithie put the whole team on his back, grabbed Player of the Game awards in their 2 consecutive games that they won against Team Liquid. Last time they played, Week 2.
Yeah, and it was a little bit different of a TL. Like, Dardoch had just come fresh off a suspension, basically, and they were still playing with Piglet, so it'll be a very different Team Liquid that is playing today, but also CLG looks like better than they had looked around this time frame when they were playing against Team Liquid. So I think both teams have improved a lot, and it's going to be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, so given these changes, Dyrus, for example, the fact that, Dardoch and Fabi have now been with the team for a little bit longer, but also a resurging CLG. What are your thoughts on this matchup and how it might play out today?
In my opinion, since it's getting closer and closer to playoffs, CLG is definitely like putting the pedal to the metal, while Team Liquid is getting more and more used to their team being together, especially without Piglet. It's kind of interesting to see Fabi in the LCS for me, because he's the kind of guy who's like gatekeeping all the people from Challenger, and now you see him here in the LCS fighting against CLG.
Yeah, so this will be a big matchup for both of these teams as we have that race towards playoffs. Now, meanwhile, over on NALCS 2, you can catch another battle between the 3rd and 5th place teams, Envy and Cloud9. When they met in Week 4, C9 swept Envy in back-to-back games, so a little bit more decisive from them. But again, Envy struggling on the back half of this split, and C9 has had a tumultuous season. They've had great-looking games and then some pretty awful-looking ones to go along with it.
Right, and the most interesting thing is the somewhat downturn that we've seen from Jensen. He's been solo killed in a couple of matchups against players who you wouldn't think are traditionally like the kind of solo kill type players. They're not super dominant in lane, and so Jensen needs to have a good return to form these last couple of weeks to really push C9 into that top 3, top 4 spot and avoid the 5, 6, what the matchups that they want. And yeah, I think that's the big thing to look for.
So last time that these two teams played, Jensen played Cassiopeia both games. He got a lot of help from his jungler and support. So it might tie in a little bit with what you're saying, especially given the fact that he's had a bit of a downturn. Do we expect a lot more focus going into that mid lane, helping him out there against the likes of Ninja?
I mean, Cassiopeia is kind of one of those champions where she can push in lane and just help out the jungler and vice versa. So I think it's just one of those picks where it scales really well and just, gets all the stuff done, besides the fact that she's mobile.
All right, well, then what about on the side of Envy? Because as this team has been struggling, what is the win condition that they need to get back to? What are the elements that were successful in the first half of the split that haven't been successful here in the second half?
Some of the stuff I think is hard to fix. Like, Lissandre is just banned like 100% of the time against them now, which was a very powerful flex pick in the early part of the season. But I do think they tunnel a little bit too much on their flex picks. They're putting the Karma all over the place. They have Trundle going. And it's sometimes I think you just need to go with something that's stable and simple, and like a Victor. You see Victor is just such a strong champion, and Ninja sometimes ends up on these like weirder Kassadin picks when it's really like just get a wave clear mid that he's going to be safe on, and let Seraph and maybe some other players try and take over.
Almost outplaying themselves with how large their champion pools are.
We can play so many things, and then it's like you could just pick the good one.
But you don't need to. Right, yeah, exactly. You don't need to sometimes. Well, yesterday we went over some 6.14 patch notes, and I want to touch on this again because we've got Dyrus on the desk. So my question to you, Dyrus, is what is going to be the highest impact change from 6.14 in your opinion?
For objectives, I think that the Cloud Drake is pretty up there since it's been doubled. But one of the things to watch for me is really Ryze and Taliyah, because Taliyah has been an up-and-coming pick, and Ryze is kind of in a question mark zone where you don't know if he's going to be really OP or not because of the new ult change.
Right.
And as for the rest of the champions, the biggest thing to look out for is Sona, because Sona is extremely overpowered. And you were telling me earlier today about the tournament patch and the live patch. There was a hot fix for Sona.
Exactly, yeah. As of yesterday, we mentioned this as well. But currently on live, Sona has been hotfixed to bring her power down a little bit from her release state on 614. That effect is not in on the tournament realm, so she still sits in that very powerful position. We saw her played yesterday, and we kind of saw what those buffs to Sona can
Have fun
do.
CSing under your turret, buddy. That's where you're going to be.
She will push you in constantly, so she definitely is a big pick. We'll see how many of the support players in the North American LCS have bothered to pick her up for this week. But now with those matches and the end of the season push in mind, we want to open up the conversation to you at home on Twitter. Connect with us by tweeting at LolEsports using the hashtag LOCKIN and tell us which NALCS team fighting for the playoffs will benefit the most from patch 614. Hit us up online and we'll share some of your responses later in the show. Now, tickets have gone on sale for the World's group stage, so now's your opportunity to book your trip to see the best teams from around the globe compete for international glory. Check out lolesports.com/tickets to snag your seats. Mark your calendars because groups happens between September 29th and October 9th in San Francisco, California. And a special announcement for LA locals. Next week, the LCS kicks off on Friday at 3 with Immortals and TSM facing off in a battle for top playoff seeding. Now, the top of the table showdown has been moved into the battle arena to accommodate more fans, and a limited amount of tickets are now available on lolesports.com/tickets as well. So go check that out. That is going to do it from us here at the desk. So now it's time to send it over to the casters to get us into the game.